All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Summer Soccer Silly Season, episode 11. We've only got a couple, maybe even one more week of the summer to go, but we got a lot to talk about this week. We are going to start out with the rest of the Round the World segment, where we got to talk about Leagues Cup and what's going on with MLS. We got some big transfers into the league that we'll get into. Halftime will be a Messi-related weekly What If. Then we'll hit some transfer talk. We'll keep it short, we'll keep it quick. You guys know that we do not love the rumor mill, but we will talk a little bit about the Premier League and who's coming and going. And then finally, stoppage time with Evan Toney's best bets. And everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We will start out with Mr. Tyler Terrens, who got not into a fist fight, but apparently there was a fist fight at your Monday league, men's league soccer, rec league game. So give me the story on it. And number two, have you actually ever been involved in something along those lines?
So the lowdown was, and I happened to be, we had like 4 subs for whatever reason. So I was standing off to the side and I actually got a good look at what went down. And apparently this ref, who I actually had yelled at, for literally a guy getting a fistful of my jersey, yanking me down. And he said, "There's not enough contact." And I looked at him and I said, "I'll show you enough contact next time there's somebody else near me." And we'll take a look at what that looks like. But anyway, he had missed a blatant PK. And then another guy on the team who got away with the foul in the penalty area was like getting into a fight with a guy on the team who just had a blown call and basically said, "I'm going to put my dick in your mouth," to this guy on the team. And the ref gives the guy who received that comment the yellow card, not the one who said that very, very graphic banter. And then I turn away for 10 seconds and then the fight breaks out between the player who got the yellow card and the referee. I've never seen anything like it before. It was pure entertainment. No, I've not. Obviously, I've never fought a referee before. I've had a guy on the other team after I talked a little bit too much shit. And to be fair, he instigated it, and then I just sort of finished it after I megged him for a second time. He grabbed me by the shirt and was trying to like cock back and hit me. This was at Fire Pitch in Chicago, and I took off my shirt to sort of avoid getting hit by him. But yeah, that's the closest I've come to ever getting in a fight.
So you limit your participation to threatening refs. You would never actually.
I didn't. No, I've never threatened a ref. I was just sort of like, "I'll show you a foul," not on you, but like on somebody else who didn't deserve it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. It was a little unclear there. Okay, makes sense. Next up, we got Mikey Fowler, who you haven't been on the podcast a couple weeks. I've been dying to ask you about this story, right? About the guy in your fantasy football league who I saw, like, there was a tweet of him walking basically naked in handcuffs. What's going on, and is he still in the fantasy football league?
I deleted the tweet because I was thinking about it, and the story got sad one day when he was posting a lot of stuff. But he was naked and stole a boat in the Hudson River and got caught and arrested, and then was in prison. The guy fell asleep, or was in the hospital. The guy fell asleep. The guard, he snuck the keys off him like an Acme character. Unlocked his handcuffs, stole a lab coat, and broke out of. And he's still at large. He's posting Instagrams like every day. He's a member of a 12-team fantasy football league I've been in since 2018. His name's Steven, yeah, and he's posting about things like he's like it's kind of like he's in one long DMT trip. So it's like it got like sad one day, and I deleted it. But yeah, he's still at large, posting on Instagram like every day.
Is he still in the fantasy football league? Is he still playing?
He's in the group chat.
Is he participating in the group chat?
No, but he has DM'd a few of our friends.
Wow, what a story. That's crazy. We're going to need an update. We're going to need an update on that in a couple weeks.
I hope that if there's a bad one, you won't hear it here. So if we stop updating,
then you know. All right, well, hopefully we get a positive update, which I don't even know what that is at this point. All right, we will head to Round the World. Before we do, though, we got to get a couple quick words in from our good friends over at Kick It, your one-stop shop for soccer, tennis. Tyler, tell the people what they need to know about Kick It.
Yeah. So instead of fighting referees in the summer leagues that you're participating in around the country, I suggest that you grab a cold beer, Pacifico, Corona, whatever your poison is, and go over to kickit.net. And basically what I want you to do is finish that beer, type in the code SAM25 while you're buying the basic soccer tennis set. Enjoy the discount that you're going to get for being a part of Sam Fam. And then I want you to have a beer every single day until Kick It arrives, which is probably going to be about, 4 to 7 business days. And then I want you to grab another beer and go out with your friend, even Johnny, who is not necessarily technically and tactically inclined. And even he can play because Kick It's designed for everybody. So kickit.net, SAM25 is the code you're going to use, and you're welcome.
Attaboy. Go check it out. All right. So we will go to the round of the world where Leagues Cup is the topic du jour. So this has now been going on for about a week. And so we are about to start match day 3. Now, this competition, it has attracted a fair amount of, interest, whether it be criticism or positive, well, this is cool. Like we got MLS versus League MX games going on midweek, and there are positives here. You tell us, Tyler, you're the one that's calling games. You're sort of knee deep in this competition at the moment. Give us the quick sort of sales pitch on what this is all about, and rebut or at least address some of the criticisms.
Yeah.
And I know Mikey has a few of them.
Yeah. So listen, this is like anything else that we're seeing around the world, whether it be sports or whatever. I mean, think about NBA Cup, right? I mean, this is something that was conjured up to sort of drum up interest between MLS teams and Liga MX teams because the powers that be felt like there was something to cash in as far as the rivalry was concerned. It started in 2023, and what we got was a bunch of different groups of 3 teams. Some consisted of 2 Mexican teams and an MLS team. Some consisted of 2 MLS teams and a Mexican team. It would feed into around top winner from the group would advance into the round of 32, along with some of like the second place winners or whatever. And then you round of 32 and so on and so forth. And, getting to the semifinals or winning third place and above assured your spot in CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is a big deal for a lot of these clubs. But with it came an even more congested schedule. They stopped the league for a month, and it also coincided with MLS basically just trying to pull out of Open Cup altogether. I'm not saying that there's a cause and effect there, but you do the math. And obviously there was some, pushback, especially from clubs who have been a part of US Open Cup for a long time. And what we found with the 23 and 24 versions of Leagues Cups were too many matchups between MLS teams. Like I had done St. Louis and FC Dallas on a Wednesday night in downtown St. Louis. And like, just sort of like, what's the difference between this and a regular MLS game? And you're stopping the league to play in this game. Now, maybe they should have taken a page out of NBA Cup and said, well, this game's also going to count towards the regular season of MLS too. And that could have maybe solved some of the issues there, but I digress. So this year they end up, sort of condensing the MLS teams that are able to participate, matching it up with Liga MX, 18 teams, and just sort of going from there. And you only are playing against the other league in the 3 games that you have in basically what's deemed sort of phase 1, which you can liken to Champions League opening round, which is a giant league table as opposed to different groups. Now, within that, you only are going to be stacked up against your respective league when it comes to results. So MLS teams are in a table together and Mexican teams are in a table together. Now, this has sort of created a strange polarizing, like, do I root for MLS teams? Am I rooting for Mexican teams? Because for my MLS team, it's better if the other MLS teams lose for point considerations. And only the top 4 from MLS and the top 4 from Liga MX go into the quarterfinals. You play against a Mexican or an MLS team, depending on which one you are in the opening round. So it's MLS versus Liga MX in quarterfinals. And then from there, it's just a crapshoot in terms of whoever progresses. And MLS has had the upper hand over the past 2 years because Liga MX teams are starting out their season. They're not as fresh. Transfers coming in, whatever it's going to be. Same way that MLS teams struggle in CONCACAF Champions Cup at the beginning of the season for the same reasons. Now, all this is to say that, like, I've been on the call for 2 games already. We're recording this on a Tuesday. I'm going to do another Minnesota game, shocker, against Atletico de San Luis, who I saw beat Real Salt Lake in penalties over the weekend. Now, the problem here is that there's only 4 teams that qualify from each league. So what you're left with, and we were talking about this before we started recording, is like there's a lot of meaningless games that are happening right now. And that's sort of the trade-off with condensing this. And I understand that, but that's the give and take that you're going to have if you're going to sort of eliminate having a St. Louis and Dallas game in quote unquote Leagues Cup. that essentially doesn't mean anything against two teams who are playing against each other that failed to win any sort of point in their opening game of the 3-team group stage that used to exist within this competition. So there's going to be meaningless games somewhere. There are meaningless games in the World Cup come the third match day. There are games that just simply don't matter. So with all that in mind, I've found this fun. Like, I do think that this has created what they want, which is more MLS and Liga MX sides. Now, I get the criticism from some of the purists in this country where it's like, well, why didn't you take that money and take that energy to focus your efforts on CONCACAF Champions Cup and US Open Cup, which a lot of people have complained the prize money isn't big enough, the marketing isn't big enough, whatever, whatever you want. The list goes on and on, but it's the money, you morons, as Charlie Stilitano would say, right? Like, MLS and Liga MX are in full control of the product, the marketing, the broadcasts, and everything that goes on the field, including to everything that goes off the field, including revenue share. So, like, that is sort of where I think the reasoning behind a lot of why Leagues Cup exists. I think that this new version is better than the old version. I still think that this new version could use some tweaking. But like everybody else, I'm sort of looking at some of these matchups and I'm like, why would I tune into some of these games that genuinely mean nothing? Now, MLS is going to tell you it's the rivalry. There's dominance on the line. There's, continental superiority on the line. Like, we get it. But it's a meaningless soccer game. And like, it's difficult to sort of get people to be interested in that, let alone be interested in something that is new, and people are trying to still come to terms with like the fact that there are a million different tournaments within the season anyway, let alone something that's just created out of thin air 2 years ago. So I don't know if that answers all the questions and the rebuttals, but
I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty good lay of the land. Mikey, I'm sure you've got some thoughts. I know that he has addressed probably one of your big ones in terms of the fact that we just have games that don't matter, but you got anything else?
Tonight will tell me a lot, right? This is the first round of the third legs. Like, if we're seeing stuff that is just silly, then this will all feel
like
really
wholesale
dumb.
rotation type stuff.
Yeah, like if that all happens, then this could get really dumb really fast. Maybe rewarding last season's finishers and avoiding this whole phase of the game makes a lot of sense. Expanding to 8 and 8 and just going for the top 8 teams in each league. Like, I just don't see a world in which.
Well, they did reward the finishers from last year. It was all the playoff teams from MLS that qualified for Leagues Cup.
Okay. I mean, 18 is like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's very stretched. And the 18 team table with 3 matches, with the way that you're just playing the other group, just feels so fucking wrong and weird. Just from my perspective, I have no.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
It just doesn't really
when I
make
look
a
at
lot of
this
sense
table, yeah, I hear it's hard to wrap your head around it, especially after 1 game or 2 games, and you're like, I don't know. I mean,
but it is unique. It's the first tournament of its kind that's featuring 2 different leagues completely, like, and only 2 leagues. So like,
yeah,
I think that, and I'm not trying to, I mean, you guys all know my feelings in general. Like, I'm not trying to defend them, but I am going to like be realistic of the fact that they're trying to do something in what people are going to call a North American Super League. Fine, but I do think that there's the Minnesota United Club America game the other night was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I watched it back for prep purposes, and I knew the final score, and it was still an incredible game because of it was Club America being played in Houston against the Minnesota United team that's been really good this year. Like, I loved it, and there's been some really, really, really good games. With that said, there's also been some crazy ups, like, Juarez going to Cincinnati and beating them in penalties after they had just beaten Monterrey at home 4 days earlier. Like, Mazatlan is in the top 4 right now, and they have their own destiny in their hands. Like, there's been some surprise teams and some groups that you're going to see. Like, the Portland Timbers very well might win this thing, which go figure. But like, I think that if you want to go all in on this and your MLS and Liga MX, you're trying to sort of drum up this rivalry between MLS and Mexican teams, which exists. It's a very real thing, especially for CONCACAF Champions Cup. But Mikey, I'm with you. Like, maybe there's a way to condense this a little bit and not have the table as confusing and sort of like scoreboard watching, because depending on some of the results, a lot of this is going to come down to goal differential, which for me, like, should not be the first tiebreaker. Is like overall wins, like outright 3-point wins in 90 minutes. But then the second one is goal differential. And like, if that's the second tiebreaker and 2 spots are being determined by that, I don't think that that's necessarily like indicative of who the best team was, who the 4 best teams were in their respective leagues.
No argument there, except if you're an over better, I gotta say it's kind of a good
That's what I
incentive.
mean. There's some windows tonight. There's some gaps tonight.
Exactly.
But listen, if the League's Cup is getting you two who are already fans of the game but are skeptical of anything that sort of this entity is going to put out, and you guys are looking at it from a betting standpoint, and like you're like, oh, there's some juicy stuff on the line, particularly with teams that have to go for it and are going to exploit themselves, which has been going on all tournament, because I've seen this in 5 or 6 games already. You get nothing for a loss, and losing a game is basically a death sentence. You have to try to draw the game. And Querétaro against Minnesota a week ago, they were down 1-0 and they went balls to the wall and ended up losing 4-1 because they just they knew that they couldn't afford to do anything other than draw the game. So it's entertaining at the bare minimum.
One question for you, and I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but I think it's really important in terms of just how things played out. How did they decide who plays who? Because, that seems like a really arbitrary for somebody like me in my position where I don't know the answer to this. It seems so arbitrary. And you got teams like Charlotte and Austin, I think, who seemingly had like really tough roads. And then you had, teams that I'm sure would be the opposite. So do you know anything about how they decided who plays who? Was it just random?
I don't think it was flat out random. I think that there was a level of like pots within your. Okay, here it is. So it was divided into like Western 1 through 3, Eastern 1 through 3, and then you're given a pot ranking based upon your region. So like Eastern 1, Toluca and Columbus were pot 1, NYCFC and Leon were pot 2, Montreal and Puebla were pot 3. That makes sense. And then you basically play a pot 1, 2, and 3 team over the course. Now, I don't know how much of it was random, because if you look at Inter Miami and what they ended up having to play, so they played Necaxa, which was their pot 2 team, Atlas, which was their pot 3, and Pumas, which was their pot 4. How you determine the Eastern 1, 2, and 3, you can kind of conjure that up and ensure that you might get a team to go through as the crow flies. But yeah, that's sort of how they did it.
Yeah, that's one of the criticisms I've sort of seen, that certain teams, which always wink wink involves Miami, were given, and probably America on the other side, are given sort of an easier.
But Miami have struggled, man. Like Messi comes off injured in the 10th minute. They struggled to deal with Necaxa, a 10-man Necaxa for a lot of it. So,
all right, listen, I think you gave a pretty fair and balanced overview.
Yes,
there.
I agree. I will be betting on it tonight thanks to that. So thank you very much.
There we go. All right. Also in the MLS realm, before we get to the transfers, did you guys see the chatter on Twitter? I think it was maybe driven by Herc. I'm not actually sure who was driving it, but MLS or Messi was like on the verge of signing a new deal for MLS, which I really thought was interesting. I don't know if it actually is official or anything like that, but there's a club. I think it takes out to 2029, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2028. And there's
there's no club option in it. It's all his.
It's all his options.
He can terminate at the end of each season as he sees fit.
Okay.
So as long as this means we get more awful Messi commercials where he doesn't speak, then I'm all in, man. That's my favorite part.
Shout out Michelob Ultra. He's all over those. All right, fair enough. Now let's get to the transfers. So 2 big, I would say, transfer deals have gone down in the last couple days, in fact, with Heung-Min Son announcing tearfully that he's leaving Tottenham Hotspur and heading
he
to
cried?
LAFC. we have the one person in the entire world that hates Sonny.
I just said he cried. That's touching.
Oh, you hate Son. It's crazy to me. I can't wrap my head around it. Anyway, Son to LAFC. And Matthew Jebediah Turner, good friend of the program, is heading back to his old stomping grounds, New England Revolution. So, Mikey, I'll throw it to you first. Which deal are you just more interested in?
Son, absolutely.
Okay. Thoughts on
Son and Bouanga fighting over shot on target bets is going to be my new life. I think it's pretty fun. I do like the idea of him in LA. I like the idea of him Yeah, I think he still has, if some of the guys that have dominated this league at the stage of their careers did so, then I think Sonny at least has a chance to do that. That'll be fun. The Turner one for me is just like, ugh, I don't know. It feels like a retirement. If we're being totally honest, I feel bad about saying that, but
Come on,
he's young.
retirement?
He's young, but like you can't really, as a keeper. I mean, as a goalkeeper, you can't really hope to recreate the magic that you had at a place and a time 4 years prior, right? Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be bad.
So you don't think it's going to work out?
I don't.
Okay, interesting. I mean, he's 31 from keeper
The expectation,
years.
the hype. I mean, I'd love for it to work. Trust
Is
me.
there
But
hype? Is there expectation?
yeah, people were like fired up about this in Rev's Twitter world. It's like the thing that we pictured him being is probably not as pretty as what we're going to get.
But can I push back and say that, like, I think that the hype and the excitement around it is because he very well could be the starting goalkeeper for the national team at the World Cup. Like, I think it's more so of like his stardom and his status and somebody coming back to the Revs, and that, like, sure, if he is 8/10 of what we saw a few years ago, then fine. But I don't know. He's a goalkeeper. How bad could it really fucking be? Like, is he really going to have that big of an impact? Are we really going to say, like, boy, that didn't work? It's not like Olivier Giroud where we'll look back on it and be like, that was the bust of all busts. Like, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Is that where you go for bust of all busts?
No, I go to Shaqiri, because anybody
Yes,
saying that it's
exactly.
Lorenzo Insigne is insane, because you did not watch what Shaqiri did or didn't do for 3 years and how much money he stole from all of you. Everybody's culpable, myself included.
Thank you. I'm glad you righted that wrong, at least in this world. I think that, listen, Turner is such an interesting situation that he got sort of stuck into here with Leon, basically the whole, the situation where they're like, oh, actually we're broke and we can't really afford you, but we already bought you. So, and now it's August 5th or whatever day it is today. And like the season's going to start in a week and a half. And from Turner's perspective, he is desperate for minutes, right? I mean, like that's what he needs. He just needs time on the field. I don't know sort of what the other options were in terms of like championship teams or elsewhere in Europe. I have no idea. This feels like maybe the best of the just sort of viable options that could have come up. Like he's been here, he's done that. He's going to be comfortable, I think, in the situation, and that's what he needs for the next year, right? After that, and after the World Cup, all bets are off. Because if he plays well for this year and he holds on to the GK1 spot, plays well in the World Cup, he will absolutely have his, pick of the litter, so to speak, to go back to Europe.
I don't know.
He's only going to be 32 years old. I mean, like,
I think 32 for a goalkeeper who
for a goalkeeper
that has proven that he cannot play with his feet. And I would imagine that his lack of ability to really be a premier shot stopper to cancel out his lack of ability with his feet has been a huge reason as to why he hasn't been able to see minutes. Because if he was really that good at shot stopping and keeping the ball out of the net, then I think he would have found time at these places, but he hasn't. So, like, I don't know. I think there's more pressure and expectation on Son at LAFC by a million, especially since he's going to be the largest transfer in Major League Soccer history, outdoing Emmanuel Latte-Lot. Like, that's for a 33-year-old winger who's expected to play a role in an LAFC system, which Steve Cherundolo has told people time and time again relies on dynamism and explosiveness. And you're bringing in another megastar who's on his last legs. We just watched this shit not work out with Giroud. Why couldn't you go find the next Denny Boanga and give him the money? Why does it need to be Son?
You know how many eyeballs Son is bringing with him?
Of course.
In jersey sales?
Of course. But I think that if you were to ask LAFC fans, hard stop, would you rather have more of a chance of like a younger 26 or 27-year-old who's already established himself in Ligue 1 or in the first division of Belgium or whatever, or in Serie A, come over and play and give him $8 million a year, as opposed to rolling the dice again with a aging veteran, despite his star power, I think they all would sign up for the former.
You're not factoring in how nice of a guy Son is, though.
There it is. There it is.
Well, you wrote into your question marks for compliment corner, Sam. So I think we have our winner.
There we go. From a Tottenham fan perspective, and from like maybe Son's perspective, I mean, I do love this deal. I love that he chose MLS over the Saudi money, and he could have gotten untold boatloads of Saudi money, but he came to MLS instead. If there's one criticism, and it's not really criticism, I wish he had announced this just immediately after the Europa League win. Like, and just be like, you know what, I recognize the reality of the situation.
I think a lot of that had to do with probably the coaching change. If Ange had stayed on, he would have been much more aware of his situation and his stature within the team, as opposed to Thomas Frank coming in and then Thomas Frank evaluating and sort of being like, hey, like, you're probably only going to get 60 minutes a week, including Europe. Like, that's all I can give you, type thing.
You're right on that. I think that absolutely played into the decision making. But if he just had, I think it's impossible for an athlete to look at their own situation in a completely unbiased manner. But if you look back at his production over the last, say, 2 years, even, I mean, it should have been, the writing was on the wall that the timing was coming. So I'm glad that he, made the move now, as opposed to in, say, January or, next summer. I think that this saves Tottenham and Son from potentially a last sort of hurrah that really could have gone badly. So yeah. I think that there's a great, it's just a great move. It's the timing could be a little bit better, but honestly, it's not bad at all. I think he's going to be good.
Mikey, would you pay $25 million for him?
For Heung-Min Son?
As an MLS owner.
It's $25 million?
It's close to it. Yeah, it's the largest MLS transfer.
That's gonna. I don't want to make any predictions, but no, I would not.
I was gonna make any predictions.
Even if you were half of it in jersey sales alone.
Ugh, man, that's so tough. That's a lot of money, Sam.
It is. It is a lot of money.
So good for Spurs. Good for Spurs.
Did Spurs make $25 million off that sale?
Yeah.
It's not like an expiring free agent thing.
No, this is like he's transferred.
That's an insane transfer fee for a 33-year-old who is on his way out of the Premier League.
We gotta look into this. I'm gonna do it Thursday. I'm gonna do a deep dive on the owners and how they know each other of those two clubs, because this feels like money laundering.
Oh, Levy. I guess he
for sure has a house in Los Angeles somewhere.
Absolutely. I'm going to connect these dots.
Dig, Mikey, dig. See what you come up with. All right. We'll leave it there. We'll head to halftime. Weekly What If. Shout out to our guy, Tommy McGunner, who actually came up with this question a few weeks, if not months ago. I think it was actually right when Messi was in this form where he was like scoring, 2 goals a game and assisting at least once. His question is, what if you, literally you, like Sam, Tyler, Mikey, I assume we're talking about in our current age, not like when we think we were peak athletes. If you were put on Inter Miami, basically in Luis Suarez's position, how many goals?
None.
Would you score?
0.
I really think that's not true.
It's absolutely true.
Mikey, come on, you wouldn't get 1?
I don't think
now,
so. No.
Keep in mind, Mikey's a 6, and maybe he's just very self-aware.
No, I was not.
He was
at my age, I'm a 6, Sam. No, I don't think so. I really don't.
Oh, I absolutely think I'd score at least.
I'm not delusional enough.
I want to hear Sam's number.
It's not going to be that impressive, but I would think I would just be in the way or get like a shot deflected from his left foot, into the goal off my ass.
You play every minute of a whole season. How many goals do you score? Real answer.
Wait, what? In MLS or right? Wait, what's
MLS? If you're playing,
yeah, you're playing in Miami
without Messi.
No, with Messi.
Okay, yeah. Full season MLS. At least 5 or 6. Yeah, you giving me like basically 35 games, maybe
I'll give you
40.
40.
MLS.
Leagues Cup involved at least till a semifinal.
Right. We're adding a couple games there. I mean, he sets people. Have you seen some of the goals the guys are scoring for Miami?
I watch the sport.
They're tap-ins. I can even at my age, I can handle a tap-in.
I initially was leaning towards Mikey, and then hearing you, I was like, I don't jive with it. 2, maybe 3. Maybe. I think you're right. I think there's a tap-in involved. In my own
there's a handful of tap-ins involved.
Sam,
and then you add in at least one or two worldies.
Sam, there is such a huge gap in between. You and I played the same level. There is such a huge gap in between. All three of us played the same level of Division 3. There's such a huge gap in between where we are and USL guys. I play with USL guys every Friday morning, or former USL guys. And there are times where I'm chasing my own dick around. And to be playing at an MLS level, like I played against Fafa Picault when I was like in my prime, 24 years old. I couldn't come anywhere close to him in a 5v5 game with walls. Like I don't think we'd be able to keep up with the pace of play. The only way we're finding a goal is if Toronto's sitting deep for 90 minutes and you happen to be in the right spot and Messi breaks through, or if he gives you the ball for a penalty, which is what I'm more relying on than anything.
I wasn't including penalties. You might want to double that if we're going to take the penalties.
5 or 6 from Sam.
5 or 6 with Messi hand feeding me on a golden platter. You guys, you say you watch Inter Miami games, Mikey. I'm not so sure.
I've seen the footage of your goals. If it wasn't in black and white, people might start appreciating it more.
If there was VAR when Sam played, there is no way. Let alone Blu-ray.
Sam reminds me of a player who wore those ankle guards below his shin guards.
You mean like the old school when they came connected to
you kept those on, didn't you?
Did you wear a headband when you played in high school, like a sweatband?
No, God no. Why? Do I look like a sweatband kind of guy? Do I look like you think I had rec specs on? Where are we going with this?
No, I wouldn't go that far. Don't be ridiculous. I'm just saying, like, if you were a hardo who wore a headband playing high school soccer, like, it wouldn't totally surprise me.
Oh my God. I don't think anybody ever called me a hardo. I don't think that was ever my role.
I'm sure that's not true.
Sports. I know it might have been behind my back.
You just said you'd score 6 goals in the MLS.
I'm sticking to it. Over under 5 or 6.
Totally not a hard.
Jordan Shaqiri didn't score 6 goals.
But I would actually care. And number 1 and number 2, I would actually show up. I would be there. If you got to play the game, you got to be on the field to score a goal. I would be on the field.
This is why this segment matters. When you get to learn a little bit about what we're working with here.
Listen,
6 goals is a little gratuitous, Sam.
6 goals.
Listen,
6 goals is like that's a.
If you
good
give me penalties, I might score 12.
Sam,
you don't get penalties.
12 goals.
I got a couple. I got a header in me, maybe 2. This is. I'm actually thinking about raising it to 6 or 7 at this point. I swear you guys aren't watching me.
I love your optimism. I love this little fantasy that you live in, even at your advanced age.
It's a fun world.
I will self-fund. We're going to film you. And
it's really cool to see that somebody of your generation still has their imagination running wild. never lose your dinosaur.
I mean, my generation had to develop an imagination. You guys just had your little.
How good was Pushkas?
We're moving on. Compliment corner. Who was it? Was it? Son. Oh, it's Heung-Min Son.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey, you can start us out. You got I know that you've got a laundry list of backhanded compliments. So maybe you'll bring one of those out. Maybe you'll actually bring a real compliment. I guess.
I was gonna say the $25 million signing for LAFC, who is the second best player in his favorite position, is versatile enough to play other positions, which is a huge plus. He'll play on the right. He'll play up the middle. I think his versatility is a huge asset of his.
That was impressive in how you constructed the backhandedness of it.
That was the most. I think that was the most well-crafted and well-disguised backhanded compliment corner that we've had.
I'm impressed. I'm seeing what John's saying in the chat. Sam's more likely to get 6 red cards than 1 goal in MLS. I could handle that. That would be easier. I will agree with that. But I'm sticking with it. 5 or 6 goals. All right, Tyler. Do we even need a compliment corner for Heung-Min Son for you?
I've always been a fan. I never, again, like I had never heard any slander until I met Mikey.
That's crazy.
Scored one of the best goals in the Premier League in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicest guy on the planet. Great teammate.
That's what Sam envisions that he would do with if he played with Inter Miami, that he's
No
dribbling the entire length of the field.
No, my fantasy world, is fantastical and imaginary, and I do a lot of things that probably can't do actually in real world. I know for a fact that I'm not dribbling probably anybody on any of those goals. I'm just not dribbling. I'm just tapping them in. Tap it in. Tap it in. All right. Transfer talk quick. We talked last week about Isak and Newcastle and whether Tottenham was having a worse summer. Since then, Spurs have lost Maddison for God knows how long to a serious knee injury. So our season is looking even worse. I will say this: I love the Paulinho move that we got from him from Bayern Munich.
Yep. Great.
I think that's perfect. He's exactly what we need. We do have other guys in sort of the James Maddison role. Hopefully Bergvall can continue to evolve and develop. So I'm not I'm not jumping off a ledge quite yet, but man, it really sucks to be without, Kulusevski and Maddison going into this season. But the real question I want to ask you guys, because it's still very much up in the air, what's going to happen here. So Ben Sesko.
It's not anymore.
It's done? It's official?
It's not official, but he basically said the same thing Isak said, which is that he only wants to go to United.
United?
Yeah.
So speaking of bad summers, Newcastle continues to go downhill. Maybe they'll end up with Ollie Watkins, however old he is at this point. So I was going to ask the hypothetical question of if you were Sesko and you were leaving Red Bull Leipzig, or RB Leipzig, and going to the Premier League, and your two options were Newcastle United and Manchester United. Mikey, who would you have chosen in a perfect world?
Having been to Newcastle before, I feel I can't choose it. There wasn't a lot of fun to be had in the city of Newcastle. I'd rather live in Manchester, and I'd rather take the egregious wages that are going to come from the United signing. I know Newcastle have the ability to pay, and there's probably a lot of Premier League NIL type of deals going on, but you're not going to get a wage structure the same at Newcastle as you would United. So
okay, that's fair. Tyler, you agree?
Well, I just wanted him to go to Newcastle so Liverpool can get Isak and we can get this over with. But I have
Isak back at training. What do you put the odds at that Isak plays for Newcastle this season?
Pick him. More no. 2-1.
That he does.
Yeah.
I mean, where's he going to go? I mean, he's not.
Actually, minus 220.
You think he's coming? But you think he's at least going to start the season with Newcastle?
I mean, if Sesko, who else is Newcastle going to get at this point in time? They're not getting rid of him unless
they have to get somebody. Yeah. I mean, Ollie Watkins is still out there, right? Or is he signed somewhere?
He's under contract. I think he's going to play with Openda, and they just signed Gisson today.
If you're Liverpool, would you sell Ekitike back to Newcastle for like a 20% profit just to get Isak?
I mean, you absolutely should.
No, Ekitike's look great in preseason. Great,
except for that number.
I think the Isak is just
he's a good player,
significantly clear of Ekitike, but we disagree.
Different
All right, let's round this up. Let's head to right stoppage time where we're keeping this moving. We're keeping it quick, relatively quick anyway. All right, so we'll start with Ivan Toney's best bets, where the overtrain is cooking again, folks. Went 4-1 last week, feeling good, feeling real good. Here's a caveat. Here's a little bit of a problem I'm gonna throw in the mix. I forgot my hat. I didn't bring my hat on vacation, so I don't have the overtrain hat. All these picks come with just a little bit of grain of salt, but I still feel very confident. We're starting on Wednesday. We're going through Sunday, 1 over a day, starting in the Finnish 3rd division, where Tampere United is hosting FC Jazz. Then we're going to Thursday, a Conference League qualifier. St. Patrick's hosting Besiktas. Friday, we're going to the Danish First Division, Viborg and Sunderjyski. Saturday, we got a Shanghai derby in the Chinese Super League. Shanghai Shenhua hosting Shanghai Port. And then finally, on Sunday, we're going to Poland. I haven't had a lot of luck with Poland over the last few months, but I'm going to go back to it. Jagiellon. This is hard for me to say. Jagiellonia Bialystok.
Yep.
There we go. Jagiellonia Bialystok hosting Cracovia, Polish Premier League. Okay, Tyler, what do you got for us this week?
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a fighting chance to get your bets in. So we're going to go Leagues Cup on Wednesday. Minnesota United to win at home against Atletico de San Luis. I like Club America to win against the Portland Timbers. And I like RSL to win against Querétaro. And wait for it, one more. Seattle to draw against Tijuana, which is going to bring you to plus 1381.
If there's no comma in the
it was only 274 before I added the Tijuana game, so I needed to. I had to juice it up.
You did that. Listen, you got a calling card. You got to stick with it. All right, Mikey. Ivan Toney's best bet this week.
By the way, did I fucking nail that Montreal money line over New England when Bono was on the other day, or what? Nailed it.
Right in his face too. All right, Mikey.
So mine's tonight. So if you're watching now, you get to enjoy it. And if you are listening tomorrow or watching tomorrow, you get to laugh at it. Alonso Martinez has been an absolute goal machine. I know that we talk about Evander and a bunch of these players, but Martinez is like as close of a sure thing as you can find right now in MLS. And he's playing against Paulinho with Toluca tonight. I'm going to take them both to score in the same game. And if you're feeling really tricky, you do 2 shots on goal for each of them and a goal on each of them. I'm going to watch that game and focus on it. So 0-0 might be incoming, but I'm actually really excited to watch Alonso Martinez. I think he's a really good player.
Fair enough. Well done. All right, Tyler, I know you got places to be, things to do. So why don't you hit us with your GOA and get out of here?
We already talked about it at the beginning of the pod, the gentleman who fought the referee in a men's league game in Cincinnati on Friday night. You are my king.
Did he win or lose the scuffle?
Oh, he got him down. He grabbed him by the. I mean, it was like a hockey fight. He grabbed him by the shirt and was just throwing haymakers. He got him to the ground. Yeah, he definitely won.
Okay.
It was broken up relatively quick. It was broken up in short order. Also, shout out to the dude on the other team that we were playing last night who was jawing at one of my teammates. I obviously got involved from a verbal standpoint, and I was wearing my Hobart soccer shirt, and he says to me, and like this is after we're winning 3-1, and I'm pulling the strings, and we're making it look easy. And he says to me, bro, nobody even fucking knows where Hobart is, out of nowhere. I was like, I don't remember asking. And if you don't know where it is, go to your phone and go look it up. And then we're shaking hands. Whenever the game's done, the trash talking is done. I'm always a gentleman once we're over. I shake his hand. I say, good stuff, bud. And he goes, going to look up your stats later tonight. I guarantee less than 12 games played and you didn't even crack 200 minutes, maybe 2 assists. And I was like, boy, is it easy to rattle somebody on a Monday night here in Cincy. Like, I go waste 45 minutes going all the way back to 2015 to go find my college soccer stats, you douche. Anyway.
You got some real mental, I don't even know I can't use the word that I was going to use, some mental frailty going on in the Cincinnati Red Leagues. Shout out to our guy, Jake, by the way, who's I think on your team. Mikey, Goa, what do you got?
Georgie Manungu, however you say it. Did I nail it?
Manungu.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Subbed on in the 63rd minute of Seattle Sounders match against Santos. Picks up a yellow in the 66th, scores in the 72nd, takes his shirt off, red card in the 74th. Hit the shower. It's what we call light work in the industry. Good for you, my friend. The immediate regret on his face and the teammates doing the for fuck's sake when he starts pulling the shirt up. I could watch shit like that all day long. If you haven't seen it, please go search it. It's it's my favorite genre of video.
He's blind in one eye for what it's worth.
It means nothing to me here, but yes, I give him.
I'm just saying, if you're watching him and you're like, this guy's a good footballer, I'm just telling you, he's doing it with one eye. Like,
it's true. It's important
So
context.
It should mean something to you. You're a fan of the beautiful game. Like, you like an
think it's
underdog.
amazing. I think it's amazing. Yeah, that's he should get 3 yellows then. How about that? We'll let him do this.
I don't follow.
Well, if you didn't see one of them, maybe.
That is not what I meant.
All right, my turn. We got to get Tyler out of here. I got 2 honorable mentions. I got.
I can't be associated with this podcast.
Is that? Are you saying that that's why he took his shirt off, because he didn't see the first one? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Sam's just being a dick.
I was giving him an out. I was trying to. Listen, he was in a tough spot. You needed a little.
Sam, how many goals?
He was showing a message on his shirt. He put his shirt like over his head, like so that the back of it is resting on his neck. There was something written on his shirt, which the camera crew did not capture. And then Nuku basically wrung his neck and was like, "You dumbass! Like, put your shirt back. You're gonna get sent off." In fact, that he did. I apologize for Sam's just blatant.
We all do.
Blatant lack of respect for anybody. But anyway, yeah,
people are too soft. All right, honorable mentions: Barcelona fans for hating on their longtime captain Ter Stegen. Listen, he's GKU, so I guess I'm sort of with it, but like they want him to essentially bend over backwards and agree to something that apparently isn't correct. Like Barcelona is saying that he should be out for 4 months, and he's saying I'll be back in 3. If he was out for 4 months, then Barcelona would be able to take 80% of his salary off the books, and would obviously give them a lot more flexibility to register players. So basically, fans are hating on him for the problems, the issues that the board has been causing for years. Second honorable mention: Villarreal signing Thomas Partey. That's all. I'm not even going to say anything. Actual GOA though goes to Vermont soccer. Just soccer in Vermont. They're really having a moment up there in the Northeast. So Vermont Green just beat Ballard FC in the USL League 2 for the championship, and the game-winning goal was scored by Maxi Kissel, who also scored the game-winning goal for the University of Vermont in the NCAA championship back in December. Just so not only just Vermont soccer in Vermont, but specifically Maxi Kissel is obviously having a hell of a time at the moment. Just shout out to them. You don't really normally think, where's the epicenter of soccer in the U.S. You don't normally think of Vermont, but at the moment, shout out to them. Well done. They got some good syrup too. All right, that's all we got this time for this week. Tyler and Mikey, you guys are the best. Everybody in the Discord chat, love you. If you're not in the Discord chat, get in the Patreon so you can get in the chat 24/7. Footy chat. We'll be back bigger and better next week. See you guys then.